Have you ever been curious about the thoughts of those who have challenged the conventional wisdom of their time? Today, we're going to explore the ideas of 5 revolutionaries, whose philosophies you may not have heard of. His philosophy, known as Fourierism, was a utopian vision for a future society based on principles of harmony, cooperation, and the abolition of private property. Born in 1913 in Brooklyn, New York, Ellis received his PhD in clinical psychology from the University of Illinois in 1947. He was born in London on May 1806 and died in Auvergne, France, on May 1873. Mill is best known for his contributions to utilitarianism, liberalism, and feminism. Born in 1756 in Wisbech, England, Godwin's work was heavily influenced by the Enlightenment, a philosophical movement that emphasized reason, individualism, and human progress. And pacifist, who was best known for his epic novels War and Peace and Anarchy. We encourage you to continue exploring their ideas and to apply them to your own life. If you found this video helpful, please share it with others and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching. Born in 1828 in Moscow, Tolstoy came from a wealthy aristocratic family. However, he rejected his privileged upbringing and dedicated his life to writing and the pursuit of spiritual and moral wisdom. Tolstoy's novels are widely regarded as masterpieces of world literature. They offer a profound exploration of human relationships, morality, and the search for meaning in an increasingly secular world. His work is characterized by its realism, psychological depth, and philosophical complexity. In addition to his literary accomplishments, Tolstoy was also a moral philosopher and pacifist. He developed his own ethical system based on the teachings of Jesus Christ, and he advocated for nonviolent resistance to oppression and injustice. Tolstoy's philosophy was deeply rooted in his personal experiences, particularly his spiritual crisis in the 1870s when he began to question the meaning of life and the purpose of human existence. This led him to a profound religious conversion, and he became convinced that the teachings of Jesus Christ offer the path to salvation and enlightenment. Tolstoy's moral philosophy is summed up in his concept of the law of love, which he believed to be the highest law of all. According to this law, love and compassion should guide our actions, and we should strive to live a life of service to others. Tolstoy was also a vocal critic of war and violence, and he became increasingly involved in the peace movement. He believed that war is a manifestation of humanity's capacity for evil, and he called for the abolition of all forms of violence and aggression. Throughout his life, Godwin held several positions, including that of an attorney, a dissenting minister, and a political theorist. His most famous work, An Inquiry Concerning Political Justice, published in 1793, outlined his vision for a society based on reason, natural rights, and individual liberty. In the book, Godwin argued against the legitimacy of government and the use of force and violence as means of social control. He believed that humans are inherently good and that society corrupts them. Therefore, according to him, any form of government or social institution that uses force and violence to maintain order is unjust and tyrannical. Godwin's ideas were highly influential in the development of anarchist thought, and his work has continued to inspire activists and theorists throughout history. Despite his significant contributions to political theory, Godwin's work has also been subject to criticism. His opponents have accused him of naive utopianism, arguing that his vision of a stateless, violence-free society is unrealistic and impractical. Additionally, his ideas have been criticized for being overly abstract and lacking a clear plan for achieving social change. However, Godwin's work remains an important contribution to the history of political thought, and his ideas continue to be studied and debated by scholars today. His legacy as a pioneer of anarchist thought and a champion of individual liberty and social justice continues to resonate with those who seek to create a more equitable and peaceful world. He was the son of James Mill, a philosopher and historian, and was educated at home by his father and a governess. From an early age, Mill showed a prodigious intellect and was well versed in classical literature, history, and philosophy. By the time he was 12 years old, at the age of 20, Mill began working as an assistant secretary to the British East India Company, a position that provided him with a comfortable income and allowed him to pursue his intellectual interests. Despite his privileged background, Mill was deeply affected by the suffering he witnessed among the poor and marginalized in Victorian England. This experience, along with his reading of the works of philosophers such as Jeremy Bentham, led him to develop his own ethical and political philosophy based on the principle of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is an ethical theory that holds that the right action is the one that produces the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest number of people. Mill argued that pleasure and pain are the ultimate measures of value, and that we should aim to maximize pleasure and minimize pain in our actions. In addition to his work on YouTube, Mill also made significant contributions to liberalism, a political philosophy that emphasizes individual liberty and the protection of civil rights. He was a strong advocate for women's rights and social reform, and his writings helped to pave the way for greater equality and justice in society. Despite his many accomplishments, Mill's work was often controversial, and he faced opposition from both the conservative and radical wings of British society. His views on religion, politics, and social reform were seen as too liberal by some, and too radical by others. Nonetheless, Mill's ideas had a profound impact on the development of Western thought, and his legacy continues to inspire thinkers and activists today. He went on to become a prominent figure in the field of psychology, and made significant contributions to our understanding of human emotions and behavior. Ellis's approach to psychotherapy was a radical departure from the prevailing psychodynamic theories of his day. Instead of focusing on past experiences and unconscious conflicts, Ellis believed that people's emotional problems were caused by their beliefs and the stories they told themselves about events rather than by past experiences. According to Ellis, our beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves determine how we feel and how we behave. For example, if you believe that it is absolutely necessary for you to get a promotion at work, then you might feel anxious or depressed if you don't get the promotion you want. However, if you have a more flexible belief system and you are able to accept that there are many paths to success, then you will not be so affected by setbacks, like not getting a promotion. Ellis argued that these beliefs and self-talk can be modified through rational examination, and that this process can lead to significant changes in a person's emotions and behavior. Ellis's theory of REBT has had a profound impact on the field of psychology, and it remains one of the most widely used approaches to psychotherapy today. His work has helped millions of people to overcome emotional and behavioral problems by challenging their irrational beliefs and teaching them to replace them with more adaptive ones. Ellis's influence can be seen in the work of many contemporary psychologists and therapists, continued to build on his legacy and refine his theories. Despite his many contributions to the field, Ellis's work has also been subject to criticism. Some have argued that his approach is too simplistic, and that it does not take into account the complexity of human emotions and behavior. Others have criticized his focus on rationality as being overly intellectualized and out of touch with the lived experiences of people who are struggling with emotional problems. Nevertheless, Ellis's work has had a lasting impact on the field of psychology, and his approach to psychotherapy continues to be widely used and respected by mental health professionals around the world. Born in 1772 in Besançon, France, Fourier's ideas were a reaction against the growing industrialization and urbanization of Europe. He argued that the traditional social order was based on competition and conflict, rather than cooperation and solidarity. Fourier believed that these conditions would only worsen with industrialization, which he saw as a destructive force that would alienate workers from their work and from each other. To address this, he proposed a radical reorganization of society based on his concept of the passional culotte, or the harmonious whole. This is a self-sufficient community where people are free to pursue their own interests and passions, while still contributing to the common good. Fourier envisioned a society composed of these passionate cells, each one a microcosm of the ideal community, living together in peace and harmony. One of the key features of Fourier's philosophy was his belief in the importance of cooperation over competition. He argued that human beings are naturally sociable creatures who thrive in cooperative environments. Competition, on the other hand, creates conflict and division and ultimately leads to instability and inequality. Another important aspect of Fourier's thought was his critique of the traditional family structure. He believed that the nuclear family, consisting of a father, mother, and children, was a source of social problems and that it should be replaced by a more egalitarian and communal form of family life. In practice, Fourier's ideas had a significant impact on the development of utopian socialist thought. His ideas inspired later thinkers, such as Charles Eastman and Charles Saint-Simon, and his critique of the family structure was particularly influential in the feminist movement of the 19th century. Despite his contributions, however, Fourier's work has largely been forgotten. His ideas were seen as too radical and impractical by many of his contemporaries, and they fell out of favor during the rise of Marxist socialism in the late 19th century. In recent years, however, there has been a renewed interest in Fourier's work, particularly his ideas on ecological sustainability and the importance of diversity and inclusion. His philosophy offers a valuable perspective on the challenges facing our world today, and his ideas continue to inspire activists and organizers around the globe. Their thoughts are sure to challenge your perspective and leave you pondering the complexities of our world. Let's dive in. Number 1. Charles Fourier was a French socialist philosopher and one of the most influential thinkers of the early 19th century. Number 2. Albert Ellis. Albert Ellis was an American psychologist who developed rational emotive behavior therapy, or REBT, a highly effective approach to psychotherapy. Number 3. John Stuart Mill. John Stuart Mill was an English philosopher, political economist, and civil servant. Number 4. William Godwin. William Godwin was an English writer and philosopher who is considered one of the founding fathers of modern liberalism and utopian socialism. And number 5. Leo Tolstoy. Count Leo Tolstoy was a Russian novelist, moral philosopher. We hope you enjoyed learning about these 5 revolutionaries whose philosophies have shaped our world in profound ways.